A woman will never respect you. Until you do this, what I'm about to reveal will completely shatter everything you think you know about earning respect from women. Most men spend their entire lives trying to prove their worth, bending over, backwards, being the perfect gentleman. And what do they get? Treated like a doormat, taken for granted, disrespected. But there's one specific thing that changes everything. One psychological shift that immediately transforms how women see you and treat you. And it's not what you think. Before I reveal this game-changing insight, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This channel is dedicated to revealing the harsh truths about male psychology that no one else will tell you. And if you stay until the end, I'll show you the exact moment when everything clicks, when respect becomes automatic and effortless. Let me tell you about David. He was 32, successful software engineer, great guy by all measures. But women walked all over him. His ex-girlfriend cheated on him and somehow made it his fault. His female colleagues dismissed his ideas in meetings. Even his own mother constantly criticized him. David was drowning in disrespect, and he couldn't figure out why. Then, David learned what I'm about to teach you today. Within 6 months, his entire life transformed. Women started seeking his approval. His ex came crawling back. His colleagues began respecting his opinions. His mother stopped her constant criticism. What changed? David finally understood the fundamental truth about respect that most men never discover. Here's what you need to understand. Respect is not earned through good behavior, kindness, or even success. Respect is commanded through something much deeper, much more primal. It's rooted in evolutionary psychology, backed by decades of research. And it's been hidden from men for far too long. The brutal truth is that women are biologically programmed to test men for this specific quality. They can't help it. It's not conscious. It's not malicious. It's hardwired into their psychology. And if you don't possess this quality, you will never, and I mean never, earn genuine respect from women. This isn't about manipulation or being a bad person. It's about understanding fundamental human psychology and finally stepping into your masculine power. The quality I'm talking about has been systematically stripped away from modern men, leaving them confused, frustrated, and disrespected. But here's where it gets interesting. This quality isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you can develop. And once you understand what it is and how to cultivate it, respect becomes inevitable. Keep watching because what I'm about to reveal will change your life forever. Asterisk, we're living in the middle of a respect crisis. More men than ever before are struggling to earn basic respect from women. They're being friend-zoned, walked over, and treated like emotional tampons. And the advice they're getting is making it worse. Society tells men to be nice, to be agreeable, to put women on pedestals, treat her like a queen, they say. Be respectful and kind. But what happens when men follow this advice? They become invisible, they become safe, they become boring. And boring men don't get respect, they get pity. David followed this advice religiously. He opened doors, paid for everything, never disagreed with women, always put their needs first. He thought he was being respectful, but what he was actually doing was signaling weakness. He was communicating that he had no backbone, no standards, no self-respect. Here's the harsh truth. Women don't respect men who don't respect themselves. If you're constantly seeking approval, if you're always trying to avoid conflict, if you're putting everyone else's needs before your own, you're not being noble, you're being pathetic. And pathetic men don't get respect. The psychological principle at work here is called the law of reciprocity and respect. You cannot give what you don't have. If you don't respect yourself, others won't respect you either. It's impossible. You're literally teaching people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. But there's something even deeper happening here. Women are unconsciously testing men for a specific quality that signals genetic fitness and survival value. This quality determined life and death in our ancestral environment, and it still determines respect in our modern world. This quality is so important that women will unconsciously reject men who don't possess it. Even if those men are perfect, on paper, rich, handsome, successful men get disrespected all the time because they lack this one crucial element. Meanwhile, men who possess this quality get respect even when they have nothing else going for them. Quality I'm talking about has been systematically removed from modern men through social conditioning. But once you understand what it is and how to reclaim it, everything changes. The next few minutes will reveal exactly what this quality is and why it's so powerful. To understand why women test men for respect, we need to go back to our evolutionary origins. For millions of years, women's survival and their children's survival depended on choosing men who could protect and provide. But how do you identify a man who can protect and provide? You test him. Women evolved sophisticated psychological mechanisms to test men for what evolutionary psychologists call mate value, the combination of genetic, quality, and resource potential. These tests happen unconsciously, automatically, and they're designed to reveal one crucial quality: dominance. Not dominance in the sense of being controlling or abusive, but dominance in the sense of having the strength and confidence to lead, to make decisions, to stand up for yourself and others. Alpha dominance. The kind of dominance that signals, This man can handle whatever life throws at him. David lacked this quality completely. Every time a woman tested him, and they were testing him constantly, he failed. When his girlfriend started arguments, he backed down. When women made unreasonable demands, he complied. When others disrespected him, he accepted it. Each failure signaled to women that he was not dominant, not strong, not worthy of respect. The tests women give men are usually subtle, but always revealing. She'll disagree with you to see if you'll stand your ground. She'll make an unreasonable request to see if you'll say no. She'll push your boundaries to see if you have any fatigue. She'll create drama to see if you'll stay calm and in control. Most men fail these tests spectacularly. They think they're being nice, but they're actually being weak. They think they're avoiding conflict, but they're actually avoiding leadership. They think they're being respectful, but they're actually being submissive. Here's what's fascinating. Women don't consciously realize they're giving these tests. It's completely unconscious. They're biologically programmed to probe for strength, and they can't help themselves. A woman might not even know why she's suddenly attracted to a man who stood up to her, or why she lost interest in a man who agreed with everything she said. Research in evolutionary psychology shows that women are most attracted to men who display what researchers call benevolent dominance, the ability to be strong and assertive while also being caring and protective. This combination signals both genetic fitness and parental investment. But here's the key insight that changes everything. These tests never stop. Even in long-term relationships, women continue testing men for dominance and strength. The moment you stop passing these tests, respect disappears. Stay with me because I'm about to reveal the exact quality that makes you pass every test automatically. Asterisk. The quality that commands automatic respect from women is this: unshakable self-respect. Not arrogance, not cruelty, not dominance over others, but absolute, unwavering respect for yourself. When you truly respect yourself, everyone else has no choice but to respect you too. Self-respect manifests in specific, observable behaviors. You have standards and you enforce them. You have boundaries and you maintain them. You have values and you live by them. You don't compromise your core beliefs for anyone, including women you're attracted to. David's transformation began when he finally understood this concept. He started saying no to unreasonable requests. He stopped apologizing for things that weren't his fault. He began expressing his opinions even when they were unpopular. He set boundaries and enforced them consistently. Change in how women treated him was immediate and dramatic. His ex-girlfriend, who had treated him like garbage, suddenly started texting him and wanting to meet up. His female colleagues began asking for his input on projects. Women he'd never spoken to before started initiating conversations with him. Self is attractive because it's rare. Most men are so desperate for approval that they'll sacrifice their own dignity to get it. But when a woman encounters a man who values himself, who won't compromise his standards, who treats himself with respect, she's immediately intrigued. Here's why this works on a psychological level. Self-respect is a reliable indicator of high value. A man who respects himself has something worth protecting. He has standards because he knows he deserves better. He has boundaries because he values his own well-being. This signals to women that he's not desperate, not needy, not low value. Also creates what psychologists call social proof. When you respect yourself, others assume you must be worth respecting. It's a form of social validation that happens automatically. People think, if he values himself this highly, there must be a good reason. But here's the crucial part. Self-respect must be genuine. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to have standards while secretly being desperate for approval. You can't act like you have boundaries while allowing people to walk all over you. It has to be real, authentic, and consistent. The question is, how do you develop genuine self-respect when you've been conditioned to be a people-pleaser your entire life? How do you build unshakable confidence when you've been taught that your worth depends on others' approval? I'm about to reveal the exact process that transformed David and thousands of other men. Selfishness isn't about being selfish or inconsiderate. It's about having a healthy relationship with yourself. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness, consideration, and care that you would treat someone you deeply love and respect. Most men have no idea how to respect themselves because they've never been taught. They've been conditioned to seek external validation, to put others' needs first, to sacrifice their own well-being for others' approval. This conditioning creates men who are fundamentally disconnected from their own value. True self has 5 core components. First, self-awareness. You know who you are, what you value, what you want, and what you won't tolerate. You're not trying to be someone else or live up to others' expectations. You're comfortable with your authentic self. Second, self-acceptance. You acknowledge your flaws without being crushed by them. You recognize your strengths without being arrogant about them. You accept yourself as a work in progress, worthy of respect despite your imperfections. Third, self-advocacy. You speak up for yourself. You express your needs and wants. You don't let others walk all over you. You protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Fourth, self-discipline. You keep promises to yourself. You follow through on your commitments. You maintain standards of behavior and achievement. You don't let yourself down. Fifth, self-compassion. You treat yourself with kindness when you make mistakes. You don't engage in brutal self-criticism. You give yourself the same understanding you'd give a good friend. David was lacking in all 5 areas. He had no clear sense of who he was, constantly criticized himself, never advocated for his own needs, made promises to himself he didn't keep, and was his own worst enemy. No wonder women didn't respect him. He didn't respect himself. The transformation process required David to rebuild his relationship with himself from the ground up. He had to learn to value his own opinions, protect his own interests, and treat himself with basic human dignity. Here's what's amazing. As David developed genuine self-respect, he didn't become selfish or mean. He actually became more generous and kind, but from a place of strength rather than weakness. He helped others because he chose to, not because he needed their approval. This shift changed everything about how women perceived and treated him. ***, decoding female respect tests every woman, whether consciously or unconsciously, gives men respect tests. These tests are designed to determine if you have the strength, confidence, and self-respect worthy of her respect. Most men fail these tests because they don't even realize they're being tested. The boundary test. She'll push your boundaries to see if you have any. She might be late repeatedly, cancel plans last minute, or make unreasonable demands. She's testing to see if you'll enforce your standards or if you'll accept disrespectful behavior. The opinion test. She'll disagree with you or challenge your views to see if you'll stand your ground. She's not necessarily trying to change your mind. She's testing to see if you have conviction in your beliefs or if you'll change your position to avoid conflict. The availability test. She'll see how easily she can get your attention and time. She might text you at random hours, expect immediate responses, or assume you'll drop everything for her. She's testing to see if you value your own time and have your own life. The emotional test. She'll create drama or emotional situations too. See how you respond. She's testing to see if you'll stay calm and grounded, or if you'll get pulled into her emotional state. The compliance test. She'll make requests or demands to see if you'll automatically comply. She's testing to see if you're a people pleaser, or if you have the strength to say no when appropriate. David failed every single one of these tests. When his girlfriend was consistently late, he said nothing. When she disagreed with him, he immediately backed down. When she demanded his constant attention, he gave it. When she created drama, he got emotional too. When she made unreasonable requests, he complied. Each failed test diminished his value in her eyes. Each time he chose to avoid conflict rather than maintain his standards, he signaled that he was weak, desperate, and unworthy of respect. The tests weren't malicious, they were instinctive ways for her to assess his strength. Here's what's crucial to understand. These tests never stop. Even in long-term relationships, women continue testing men to ensure they're still with someone strong and worthy of respect. The moment you stop passing these tests, respect begins to erode. But when you understand what these tests are and how to pass them, everything changes. You realize that saying no doesn't make you mean, it makes you respected. Standing your ground doesn't make you stubborn, it makes you strong. Having standards doesn't make you difficult, it makes you valuable. The formula for automatic respect passing respect tests isn't about being difficult or confrontational. It's about being consistent with your values, standards, and boundaries. Here's the formula that transformed David's life. Step 1. Know your non-negotiables before you can enforce boundaries. You need to know what they are. What behavior will you not tolerate? What values will you not compromise? What standards will you not lower? David had to sit down and clearly define what he would and wouldn't accept. Step 2. Communicate clearly when someone crosses a boundary. You address it directly and calmly. You don't get emotional, you don't attack, you don't punish. You simply state your position. I don't accept being spoken to that way. I won't tolerate being disrespected. That behavior is unacceptable to me. Step 3. Follow through consistently. This is where most men fail. They set boundaries, but don't enforce them. They make threats they don't follow through on. They say they have standards but compromise them when tested. Consistency is everything. Step 4. Stay calm and centered when someone tests your boundaries. They're often looking for an emotional reaction. If you get angry, defensive, or emotional, you've failed the test. The key is to remain calm, centered, and unshakable in your position. Step 5. Be willing to walk away. The ultimate boundary is your willingness to remove yourself from disrespectful situations. If someone consistently violates your boundaries, despite clear communication, you must be prepared to walk away. This isn't about punishment, it's about self-respect. David's first major test came when his ex-girlfriend contacted him months after their breakup. She was going through a difficult time and wanted his emotional support. The old David would have immediately offered to help, desperate to show what a good guy he was. But the new David recognized this as a test. He responded calmly but firmly. I'm not comfortable providing emotional support to my ex. I wish you well, but I think it's best if we maintain our boundaries. She tested him further, calling him selfish and uncaring. He didn't defend himself or explain his position. He simply didn't respond. Within a week, she was texting him again, this time with a completely different energy. She was apologetic, respectful, and clearly viewing him as someone who commanded respect. The test had revealed his strength, and her perception of him had completely shifted. Building unshakable self-respect. Developing genuine self-respect is a process, not an overnight transformation. It requires consistent effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself. Here's the exact process David followed. Phase 1, Self-Assessment, Weeks 1 to 2. David had to honestly evaluate his current level of self-respect. He looked at his patterns in relationships, his boundaries or lack thereof, his tendency to seek approval, and his willingness to compromise his values. This was painful but necessary. Phase 2, Value Clarification, Weeks 3 to 4. He spent time identifying his core values, non-negotiables, and standards. What was truly important to him? What kind of treatment would he accept? What behaviors were This gave him a clear foundation to build upon. Phase 3, Boundary Implementation, Weeks 5 to 8. This was where the rubber met the road. David began enforcing his newly defined boundaries in real-world situations. He started saying no to unreasonable requests. He stopped apologizing for things that weren't his fault. He began expressing his opinions even when they were unpopular. Phase 4, Consistency Building, Weeks 9 to 16. The key was maintaining these new behaviors consistently, even when it was difficult or uncomfortable. Every time he was tempted to revert to his old people-pleasing ways, he reminded himself of his commitment to self-respect. Phase 5, Integration, Weeks 17 to 24. Eventually, these new behaviors became automatic. He no longer had to think about enforcing boundaries. It became his natural way of being. Self-respect became an integral part of his identity, rather than something he had to consciously maintain. The changes in David's life were dramatic. Women who had previously dismissed him began showing genuine interest. His confidence grew exponentially. His career improved as he began advocating for himself. His relationships became healthier and more fulfilling, but the most important change was internal. David finally liked and respected himself. He no longer needed external validation to feel worthy. He knew his own value and wouldn't accept treatment that was inconsistent with that value. The respect he commanded from women was simply a reflection of the respect he had for himself. When you truly respect yourself, everyone else has no choice but to respect you too. From seeking approval to commanding respect. The fundamental shift that changes everything is moving from seeking approval to commanding respect. Most men are stuck in approval-seeking mode, constantly trying to prove their worth to women. But men who command respect operate from a completely different mindset. Approval-seeking mindset. I need to prove I'm worthy of her respect. I must avoid conflict at all costs. Her opinion of me determines my value. I should always be nice and agreeable. I need to earn her acceptance. Respect-commanding mindset. I respect myself and expect others to do the same. I'm willing to have difficult conversations when necessary. My worth isn't determined by others' opinions. I'll be kind, but I won't compromise my standards. I offer value, but I don't beg for acceptance. This shift is profound because it changes your entire energy and presence. When you're seeking approval, you're coming from a place of scarcity and need. You're essentially communicating that you're not sure of your own value. When you're commanding respect, you're coming from a place of abundance and confidence. You're communicating that you know your worth. David's transformation was so dramatic because he made this fundamental shift. He stopped trying to prove his worth to women and started demonstrating it through his actions. He stopped seeking their approval and started expecting their respect. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or dismissive. It means operating from a place of quiet confidence and unshakable self-worth. You're kind and generous because you choose to be, not because you need something in return. The energy shift is palpable. People can sense when someone respects themselves versus when someone is desperately seeking validation. Women are particularly sensitive to this energy, and they respond accordingly. When you respect yourself, you naturally attract people who respect you. When you seek approval, you naturally attract people who will use you. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy based on the energy you put out into the world. The most powerful part of this transformation is that it becomes self-reinforcing. The more you respect yourself, the more others respect you. The more others respect you, the more you respect yourself. It creates a positive cycle that continues to build over time. Asterisk. Here's the ultimate truth about respect. It's not something you can demand, manipulate, or force. It's something you command through your presence, your actions, and your unwavering commitment to your own standards. Respect is the natural result of self-respect. David's story is not unique. Thousands of men have made this transformation once they understood this fundamental truth. They stopped trying to earn respect through good behavior and started commanding it through authentic self-respect. The irony is that when you stop needing respect from others, you automatically receive it. When you stop seeking approval, you become naturally attractive. When you stop trying to prove your worth, your value becomes obvious to everyone around you. But here's what's important to understand. This isn't about becoming cold, cruel, or selfish. It's about becoming strong, confident, and authentic. It's about treating yourself with the same respect you want others to show you. The men who command respect from women are not the men who are perfect or who never make mistakes. They're the men who respect themselves despite their imperfections. They're the men who have standards and maintain them. They're the men who value themselves enough to walk away from disrespectful situations. If you want to transform your life the way David did, start today. Begin by honestly assessing your current level of self-respect. Are you constantly seeking approval? Are you willing to compromise your standards for acceptance? Do you have clear boundaries and do you enforce them? Then start small. Practice saying no to unreasonable requests. Stop apologizing for things that aren't your fault. Express your opinions even when they're unpopular. Set boundaries and enforce them consistently. Remember, this is a process, not a destination. Building genuine self-respect takes time, effort, and consistency. But the results are worth it. When you truly respect yourself, everyone else has no choice but to respect you too. If this video has opened your eyes to the truth about respect and self-worth, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. I regularly share insights about male psychology, attraction, and personal development that you won't find anywhere else. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's one area where you need to develop more self? Are you ready to stop seeking approval and start commanding respect? And if you want to dive deeper into the psychology of attraction and masculine development, check out my other videos where I break down the mental frameworks that separate strong men from weak men. Remember, a woman will never respect you until you respect yourself. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.